Welcome back to the 10th round of this championship. It is the British Grand Prix in F1 TS Hub for the Pinnacle here. Hello, everybody. My name is Alan Cavanero. Joined alongside Nick, and we are here to begin the 10th round, and I believe the midpoint of this championship. And well, after this is actually, believe it or not, this is the final race of the year. Not to confuse people, not the season, the year. We will continue the second half of the season in 2018. We will be on a holiday break for the next couple of weeks, so we'll see you back here on January 5th on this channel. So, well, for you, Nick, I'm really excited to begin this weekend's British Grand Prix, despite only have 11 drivers here today.
Yeah, definitely. I think some saw this weather coming, perhaps, and decided to start their Christmas holiday a little bit early. I know I wouldn't want to be out there in this weather, but that's probably because I was never too much good in the wet. But yeah, it's still going to be exciting. We've got 11 drivers, and of course, if you remember, Alan, Sean took the win last week, his first win at F1 TS Hub, and of course this season. So it's going to be exciting to see what he could do. We got Force India already off on their outlap. That's Matt. He's struggling with the conditions quite a bit. It does look very wet. Media are what all the drivers are choosing. We haven't had, I don't think, a qualifying session in the intermediate weather conditions, but I'm sure it's going to be all the entertaining.
Something I did also notice, like, you know, despite the fact that we have 11 drivers, I was going through the grid, and yeah, like you said, intermediate tires. Something that threw me off is, hold on a second, I was just looking at it, and I'm trying to go back to the camera. I don't see it anymore, never mind. I was going to say something about the camera angle on one of the Mercedes cars, but I do not see it anymore, so that is good. But we have less than 9 minutes remaining here in Silverstone, and like you said, this is one of our very first qualifying sessions we've had here in the intermediate conditions. Not a surprise that it is here at the British Grand Prix in Silverstone. This is home to many of the drivers, and it's a really exciting Grand Prix for them. I'm not exactly sure how the weather will play out, but you do have to keep in mind weather. The rain can definitely affect the drivers throughout the Grand Prix, and yeah, so I was really curious about the weather, because despite it raining right now, there's a chance that the rain could either get worse later on in this qualifying session with 8 minutes remaining, or it could just lift off and just, you know, maybe with a minute or two remaining, these drivers could go out in the slicks and set a lap. Knowing this track, it takes a long while for the track to actually dry, and due to the fact that it usually rains here quite a lot. So these drivers are expected to have rain setups entering this Grand Prix. I mean, if you go to a track like Bahrain or Abu Dhabi, you can only bring a dry setup. For a track like this, you've got to make sure you have not only a dry setup, but you also have to have a wet setup for a track like Silverstone.
Yeah, definitely frequent rain here. I sat here in 2016, I believe, in the stand just after Abbey, and there was no roof above it. I got absolutely soaked just sitting there in my jumper with my Lewis Hamilton t-shirt on, but you expect nothing less at Silverstone. That's something that can always happen. It looks so slippery out there on the track at the moment. The Mercedes of Sean struggling so much. Lewis has got pole position so far in his Ferrari. Matt's in third, Emile's in second. We've got drivers crossing the line all the way through. But it definitely is slippery out there. I can see drivers, when I've been watching them, just sliding their cars through some of the corners. They just don't have the grip in these conditions, even with the extra downforce of the cars on this year's game. But it'll still be interesting to see. Bisas is in the pits. Cliffy is currently out there now, starting his hot lap. Sam is also in the pits. So we've got a couple of drivers yet to set a time. Cliffy is on his lap. And I think in these conditions, Alan, sometimes it's just about building up your confidence. So maybe putting a little bit of fuel in for, you know, 2 or 3 laps, and just about building the confidence within the car, learning where the grip is, and then nailing it on maybe your 3rd lap on those tires.
Yes, you're saying it was very slippery. I'm looking on board with Lewis, or Luis, as he spins it in Mackett's and Beckett's. Lewis is the back end off the final corner of the Beckett there, and despite setting pole position by only 0.08 of a second, he does find a way to get off the racing surface. We go down with Sean, MLA's teammate. He's in second. MLA himself, he's in third. Fourth is going to be Matt. Fifth, the seventh, Jor. Eighth, James Slater. Ninth with Beast has not setting a time yet. Neither is Flippy and Samster. So with 5.5 minutes remaining, we have 3 drivers left on this grid who have not set a time yet today. And yeah, I was pointing out, I mean, despite only have 11 drivers, we do have our main championship rivals here. We have MLA, we have Sean, we have BSAS. They're all contending inside this championship, and it's nice to see them that they're all here today. And right now with 5.5 minutes remaining, the time to beat is a 1:40.1.
Yeah, Clippy just about to come across his line. MLA was actually up on that previous lap as Clippy puts him in fourth, but he lost it all in that final corner. He was struggling so much just to get the car to grip in order to get it straightened up. As Clippy goes wide now, completely off the track after Abby. So he obviously just carried a little bit too much speed or had a moment on the exit, and this has ruined his latest lap. So whether he'll come into the pits or continue on for another one, we'll have to wait and see. BSAS is out on track, as is Sam, so we do have everyone except first, second and Cobblers currently out on the circuit testing these conditions. I don't know at what point, whether it's going to go dry or, like you said, Alan, or if it's going to get worse. It definitely doesn't look too inviting out there, to say the least, but this is tricky for these guys because, you know, starting only 11 drivers, and you have to say 11th place isn't going to be that much of advantage, simply because you won't get a free choice of tire advantage over everyone. Obviously, if you qualify on the wets or the inters, everyone will get to pick brand new tires, and we could see drivers mixing up their strategies. That means, as we say, Cliffy's struggling, and Joe in the Red Bull is up on his previous lap. But yeah, it means everyone will get to pick a new set of tyres come the start of the race, and that could open up the strategy. It's most likely looking at one stop, and that of course if it is dry in the race. We just don't know yet.
Again, I would like to point out that first qualifying session we've had here in the wets, and looking at it, not many drivers are playing a good part in it. What I mean by that is really they haven't taken advantage of the weather. All I've seen is just drivers spin out. Besides Louise, who has taken pole position with 3.5 minutes remaining around this track. Other than that, I don't see anything else going on. I mean, that was only by 0.08 of a second. Back down in third is MLA by 6 cents? 6 or 8 cents. I can't see from back here. And then after that, Cliffy is back by almost a full second. It's 9 tenths, and then 1.9 is Matt. All the way back about a second. That is Jor off the circuit again, and slowing down back on it. Yeah, go to the grid. BSAS and Sam still need to set a time. They're out there for the first time today. Sam and BSAS both running in the Mercedes-powered engines, not the team. But both of them, I mean, those teams have had a fantastic season so far. I mean, Williams' crew, if I look down at the constructors, I mean, Williams is in second, they're only 97 points behind Mercedes, their engine supplier, that they get their engines from. And Force India, I mean, they're doing a fairly well job, 45 points this season. So again, good stuff for that. But again, we're talking about the standings, and I would like to point out, look at BSAS. He owns a 9-point lead entering the 10th round of his championship. The British Grand Prix, he is only 9 points ahead of MLA, who is in second. Third is Sean. Sean is only 61 behind. He's only 61 behind MLA. He's 70 points behind overall. There's Cliffy in the Haas, and he is 108 points behind. He stands in fourth. Hold on a second. Sam is off the track as he promotes himself up to 6th place. But, yeah, a lot of these drivers not doing the best of luck trying to, let's say, stay on the track as BSAS retires with 1 minute and 40 remaining. Again, I'm surprised he's not even in the front row. BSAS, I mean, he is 3/10 off of the pole sitter, but we do have 1.5 minutes remaining, and BSAS just completely gives up. But now, I point this out because almost every qualifying in the past before, he'd always give his best shot until the very end. Remember, I keep doing this up, but Russia qualified with 1 second, puts in a time, and that is pole position. So I honestly thought BSAS would have gone to the end. I don't know why he retired. Do you have any clue why?
He didn't have any more fuel in the tank, so you know he does get to choose his fuel. So if he did wanted to set more than one lap, he's the only one to blame for that one. But yeah, he didn't have any more fuel, so he obviously just wanted to do the single lap, which is disappointing for us, because you know we would have loved to have seen his jaws off again on the grass, just going slowly. So the sole Red Bull driver today, down in ninth place currently. James on outlet. Sophie is in the pits, so she is choosing to stay there because she won't get back out. Louise is on flying lap. He is in first position at the moment. What can he do? Can he improve his time even further? I'm not sure if these conditions are getting worse or what, but Sophie is now out of session. So Lewis backs off and he's going to go again. So he obviously wasn't up this lap and he feels he can gain more time, but he needs to be careful. There's only 15 seconds left and there's a Renault very close in front of him. Sean is on a flying lap. He's struggling so much with the traction in that Mercedes. So anyone running a high ballast will be extremely crying under their helmet as to why they can't get the power down, because it really affects the rear end of the car when it's so high. Cliffy in 5th position now. The second covers the top 5. Isas obviously retired. And the top 2 are so close, Alan. I wouldn't like to bet who's going to pull this off here. In these conditions, it really takes someone to pull out a stellar performance, and it really sorts the boys out from the men.
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 minutes remaining. Oh, hold on a second. Disqualified from the session. That is going to be Cobblers for parking in a dangerous location. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to take up. It does. It takes away his time that he originally had. I'm not sure what went on there. It could be a game glitch. But if I were him, I would be very disappointed in that. He set a good time to be in 7th place and gets demoted all the way down to dead last, meaning everyone who set a valid lap time will be inside the top 10 today. As we're looking forward against Luis and Sean. Sean is going to go through the final couple and series of corners. Can Sean improve? We will see. Across the line he goes in fastest lap, a 1:39.9 by 2/10 over Luis. Now here comes Luis. He's in the dirty air of James Slater in front of him, but he is coming to the end of his lap. We have 1.5 minutes remaining for these drivers just to finish their lap time.
He's 6 tenths up already.
He pose a threat. Already crossing the line, Luis will take pole position. Yes, it is 1:39.7. That is 2/10 above Sean, and that ends out the grid. And putting himself back on top, Luis takes pole position here in Silverstone.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from that's his second pole position. He got pole in Canada, obviously in very different conditions, but Sean, he beat Sean there, but you have to say another good performance from Sean. He's out-qualified his teammate by 7. So Lewis in first, Sean in second, Cliffy in third, Bisas in fourth after only setting 1 flying lap. MLA, his rival, in 5th position, James Slater in 6th, Sam in 7th, 8th is Matt, 9th is Joe, 10th is Sophie, and of course Cobblers was in 7th, but he got disqualified for parking in a dangerous place, as Alan mentioned. We're not too sure if that's a game glitch or what, but I've never seen that myself before. But here we are. Is it going to be raining or is it going to be dry? We've only got a loading screen to get through before we find out.
So as the loading screen goes, it is clear and sunny here in Silverstone, which is always good news to see some racing. I'm looking at it right now. Like we said, 11 drivers. It's going to be a very disappointing start for to look out for Cobblers getting disqualified in qualifying for technically being parked in a dangerous location. However, I don't feel like that was the case, but we will see if he was, after the race, if he was fairly given the penalty or not. But even so, he can only make up positions. He can't lose any due to the fact that he is in last place starting this Grand Prix. We're going to come to the formation lap to begin the midpoint of this season, round number 10 in this championship. And, well, the 5 red lights will fill to green, and formation lap will begin. I think right now would be a good time to go over the track facts, as I usually do. So here we go, the length of this track, the Arena Grand Prix circuit, the one that we're using right now. There's other parts of, that they use, like the bridge circuit that they used back then before 2011. But the stats are following: 5.8 kilometers long, or 3.6 miles. It contains 18 corners and a lap time, a race lap record of 1:30.6 by Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes in 2017, setting the race lap fastest time. So, yeah, that's really the time to beat. I know a lot of these drivers can get a time better than that for a race lap record. But starting in the front row will be Luis. Second alongside him will be Sean. In the second row will be Cliffy and Bisas. Row number 3 is MLA James Slater. Fourth will be Sam and Matt. fifth row will be Jor and Robo, and rounding out the final row, row number 6 will be Cobblers getting disqualified in qualifying. He'll start dead last, and let's see how many positions he'll make up in the Grand Prix.
Alan, just to run through who's starting on what tyre, we've got the top two, Lewis and Sean, both starting on the super soft. Then you've got Clicky and BSAS on the soft tyre, MLA on the supers as well, James Slater on the soft, Sam on the supers, Matt Jaw both on the softs, Sophie the only driver to start on the medium tyre, so she's going for a different strategy. And you've got Cobblers who has also started on the soft. So it's most likely a one stop. They can go super soft to soft, or super soft to medium, or soft to super soft, or soft to medium is probably going to be the least likely strategy, or medium to super soft for Sophie. So if you're able to understand all that, try and say it 5 times fast, but I'm looking forward to the start of this one.
Yes, I am. It is a 26-lap race, and like we said, this race is going to be fantastic. Not only is it dry, but you know, we're going to see fantastic racing with 11 drivers. But if you want to see some stats, I just did the math. These drivers in the Grand Prix will be approaching 468 corners in this Grand Prix. 26 times 18 amount the corners of the amount of laps. That is the amount of corners each driver will reach if they finish on the lead lap and finish the Grand Prix, that is. So 468 corners for these drivers to attempt today, and well, it's going to be a good one. It is the homeland of F1, as many people like to say. It is a home place for many drivers in this championship. The 5 red lights will fail here in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, and we're green, and Luis gets off to a steady start on the outside. To the inside goes Sean, and Sean not to the best start. He loses a lot of momentum in turn 1. One car running off in the background, and that was MLA, already down to 5th place already. And around the outside, he's trying to go on one car, switching back to the inside, back to the outside. A couple of Force Indias, and now wheel to wheel. BSAS falls back to 5th place after MLA gets by. They're still wheel to wheel off the corner, and they'll still be side by side coming down the straight. And it's going to be a good one. Run up, down to the end of the straight. Luis still leads, and MLA trying to get the position against BSAS. He tries around the outside, but MLA maintains P4 for the time being. There's a yellow in sector number 2, and that is Jor. He's spawned, and well, now it looks like Cobblers has passed 2 cars off the race start, and I can look further up the grid. The Renault and Sam side by side, and Sam gets the advantage to the inside. And I can see 2 Renaults, 2 Force Indias. It's going to be a good battle. The Mackets and Peckets, single file. I mean, you have 1 Force India ahead of each Renault there, and it's sort of odd to see, but around the outside tries Cobblers. Not going to do anything about it, but down the straight we go. DRS will be available on lap number 3 at this Grand Prix. But as we look forward now, I don't think we'll see any more passing for the next couple of laps. And leading the way already by 3/10 is Luis, coming to the end of lap number 1.
Fantastic stuff. Just wanted to mention that to everyone that Alan did that sum in his head when it came to the lap count. I take it he didn't use a calculator. He did that multiplication 26 times 18 just off the top of his head. Lewis goes on the grass, so goes deep. This is going to hand, or is that, no, that was a bit of lag, I think, because he's,
I got worried.
He's back in the lead, so all the drivers staying pretty clean. Joel, the only driver to have a bit of a moment, and he hasn't lost too much time, only 6 seconds, which could have been a lot worse. So here we are, we have Lewis, Sean, Cliffy, MLA, Beeshas, Sam, James, Matt, Cobblers, Renault, Force India, that goes, and then you've got Sophie and Joe. So yeah, pretty fantastic stuff to start with. I think you might see some overtakes, Alan, because everyone is in the DRS range except for the last 2. So if they can keep it up to the end of this lap, starting the next one, you will get DRS. What can Sean do? He had such a good win last week. He dominated in Austria. His pace was so good. And can he take the fight to Lewis, who missed last week? This will be really interesting so far this season after joining quite late on. But I'm looking forward to seeing how he handles that fast Mercedes. And you've got Cliffy sitting behind in 3rd, and MLA and Beeshas, who is so close together. They are the 2 at the top of the standings at the moment, Alan, and these 2 are fighting for 4th and 5th currently. MLA having the better opening lap out of the 2 of them. It's pretty exciting.
Yes, fastest lap already by lap number 2. Those laps get a lot faster, however, as we end up towards the second half of the Grand Prix. Something I usually like to notice, a lot of these drivers, and really inside the top 5, depending on the fact that we have 11 drivers today, I will point out, a lot of them started on the softest compound that they will ever use in this Grand Prix. However, most of them are not able to capture the fastest lap. The reason for that is that they're stuck in dirty air. Not only that they are stuck battling people, and we are sort of surprised, and that the second stint of this Grand Prix, that usually drivers go for fastest lap, so you don't imagine that is the reason why they start on the hard compound, or the hardest compound, and then they go to the softest towards the end when they're in clean air and they're not battling anyone, and they're able to take the fastest lap. So like we said, I expect the fastest lap to really be captured, to be done and forward towards the second half of this Grand Prix. So anyone that gets it really within the first 13 laps, because 26 divided by 2 is 13. So anyone within the first 13 laps, I don't think will keep their fastest lap till the end. That is just my guess. That's just my guess. I was just doing some simple math, and like you mentioned before, oh, hold on a second. Into the wall. That is Sean. And I was just going to say they're battling for the race lead. Sean was going to go for a move, and there we go. Sean is out of the British Grand Prix. And lap number 3, wow, I was just going to look up towards the front. I didn't even know they were battling.
So's Joel. So's Joel.
All I saw. Joel retired 2 minutes ago. Albeit, not really, but sarcastically he did.
He bottled it. Same tire missing as Sean. So were you riding on board, Alan? I didn't catch what happened between the two at the front.
Well, I was looking midfield, and then as soon as I went up to the front, I just see
virtual safety car.
And then, yep, virtual safety. Oh, we actually have safety car turned on again. They didn't fix that, Nick. Just letting you know. Yeah,
we've had it on the entire season, and touch wood, we haven't actually had an issue like other leagues. Yeah, believe it or not.
I thought it's been off the entire season. We haven't had anything for a safety car.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much.
I could have swore safety cars were turned off. I crossed my fingers. I could have swore they were turned off. But yeah, the first ever safety car in the season we have, and it's not even a safety car, it's a VSC, and now we're racing again as TRS is enabled. Lap number 4 in Silverstone, and like I said, I was just looking up to the lead, scrolling through the cars, and all I saw was, I'm not sure if I'm correct or incorrect. I was also looking, Luis had a lot of lag, so I could be wrong, but on my screen, where Luis is right now down the straight, all I saw him turn dead left when Sean was on his outside, and then Sean went into the wall head on and lost his left front tire. Very disappointing end for Sean. I'd love to know what happened with him, but it's only lap 4 to 26, and we still have a lot of racing to go with only 9 cars. A little bit disappointing, but as we go through the grid, I see a lot of these drivers are close to each other. There's Flippy, there's MLA, and BSAS. They're all within a couple seconds of each other. Do you think anyone will get by each other for the next couple of laps? I mean, again, we're looking at Flippy. Flippy's fourth in the championship. MLA is second, and leading this thing is BSAS by only a couple points. And, knowing BSAS, I've known him for a while. I used to race against him, believe it or not, and I have an accomplishment. I actually beat him in a race. Yes, on F1 2016. And, I say that for a reason. I take that with pride because he is a very fast driver. And not only that, it comes along with a greed in racing. And when I say that greed, I mean he has agreed to not only get by a driver, but to absolutely crush this championship like he did in the beginning of the season. But he retired and missed a couple races, and now he's actually competing with someone, and that man is MLA, who's in third. So really, as that gap increases between the two, if I were BSAS, I'd be really, really eager and really hungry to buy the 2 cars in front of him, because he does need those points if he wants to extend that lead in the championship.
Yeah, you got to remember that MLA is on the quicker tire out of these two, so they all started on fresh tires because of the rain and quality. Here comes MLA's got a good run now. Let's ride on board with this all the way down to Stoke Quarter, one of my favourite corners on the calendar. He's going to have to go outside. He's got to be careful. BSAS is there as well. DRS didn't help him enough there. Is he going to try and sling one down the inside? No, Cliffy goes defensive again. What can he do? Is he going to be able to hold around the outside? He is. Can he make it stick? Yup, BSAS is going to get Cliffy by the looks of it. Here he comes. What a great driving. Cliffy's dropped from 2nd to 4th. That's exactly what Cliffy needed to be careful of. And MLA now is up to 2nd place. He's going to chase down Lewis, both on the super soft tire. Sam, the only other driver left on that quickest tire. But MLA goes deep. Bisas is there now. Cliffy's. This is going to be entertaining. And Lewis, meanwhile, has a 3.3 second lead. India Renault, Force India Renault. So Bisas is trying alongside MLA. MLA squeezes him out wide. Yeah, wow, Cliffy's now going to get back up the inside. I'm watching this, Alan, from the rear wing of the Mercedes. Fantastic to watch from this angle. They're getting so close, the Cliffy and Bisas.
They're wheel to wheel now, just trying to cut him off, and maybe around the outside, and he does. Around the outside goes Beastaz. What a move! I've never seen anything like that. And Beastaz takes over the position around the outside in the dry conditions. Fantastic stuff from Beastaz, as that did overshadow the fact that MLA ran supremely wide in the same corner, and that is the reason why he is sort of had a bigger gap than last lap. But yeah, I took pride when I commentated that. I didn't think Beastaz could do it. I was crossing my fingers that they would not collide, because I do not want to commentate a race with 7 people, you know, just in case if they were retired. But fantastically, Beastaz went around the outside and took the position away, and now is increasing the gap ahead of Cliffy. And well, I have to say that it's impressive stuff, and it's nice to see that these drivers are still putting on a fantastic battle on the F1 2017 game, because I always say, I mean, that this game was designed to make racing hard for us, and seeing a pass like that, it makes me feel 10 times better about this season and this game in general. So on Beastaz, congrats on that pass. That was, wow, one of my, again, I don't want to be opinionated, but one of the best passes I've seen in a long time. And Beastaz made it look easy, and a driver like him would like to do that. But now all of a sudden he's to the back end of MLA on lap number 7, and you know, due to all of this, Luis has just pulled away with that gap, and we may see a new first-time winner in this season. If I believe, I have missed a couple of races, so I don't want to say anything that's not true, but from my understanding, Luis has not won a race yet this season.
That's correct, Dan. He got pole position in Canada, and it all went wrong for him, and he missed last week out. But here you have to say, these super soft tires are coming maybe near the end of their best performance, and these soft tires are coming right into the window, which is helping Beastaz against his rival MLA. Oh, this is going to go right down into the final few slower corners. Beastaz using every inch of the track. That's what I love about watching Beastaz drive. He drives every lap like he's on the limit, and he doesn't often make a mistake. And it's fantastic to see someone pushing their car so hard every single lap. In my column last week, I mentioned about his lap in Russia that he did. I still talk about that, and I will continue to talk about that until the day I die, probably, which hopefully is a long way off. But you can see Sean and James Slater, they were quite close. They're not too far off this battle, so these guys need to be careful that they don't spend too much of the race battling and costing themselves time, because as you mentioned, Alan, Lewis is laughing at the front there. MLA having to go super defensive. This is just going to help Beastaz try and do the cutback after cutback. And eventually you have to say MLA is going to have to box and go for a set of mediums, because perhaps the undercut is the only way. Beastaz looks a quicker man today, it has to be said. On those soft tires, he's really pushing that Mercedes all the way. But yeah, disappointing to see the other Mercedes out so early to qualifying on the front row, and he's asking Lewis, what in the world are you doing on the chat? So I expect a visit to the steward's office. That one, Beastaz runs slightly wide. Cliffy still hanging on as well, so Cliffy on the same tyre as Beastaz, still hanging on. Then you've got Sam, James, Matt, Cobblers, and Sophie, who's on the back of Cobblers now on those medium tyres, which, Alan, the medium tyres, from what I hear, they absolutely go on forever, and you can set your quickest lap at the last lap of the race. They go on for so long. So let's see, MLA just a couple tenths ahead of Beastaz.
Yes, I mean, I'm going to have to point out, I mean, despite the fact that MLA and Beastaz are battling, the gap went down from 3.4 all the way down to 3 flat seconds from Luis to MLA, and this is with them battling. And now all of a sudden Cliffy is now gaining on these two. Now he's looking like he's one of the fastest cars on the circuit. I mean, if our leader is slower than the two cars battling, And Cliffy is faster than these two battling as well, but around the outside, can he do it again, or will he squeeze him? Runs so wide that he tried to squeeze him. He's going to cut so low down into the grass, and all of a sudden Cliffy had to check up. He's going to get a fantastic run off the corner, though, and he's going to have a lot of momentum steaming up the hill against Beastaz. Down the straight they go. He's going to try to use some slipstream against him. Down into the first old corner at this circuit, but again, running wide is MLA. Surprised that he has not gotten a penalty yet for those actions. But I'm looking at Beastaz and Cliffy, who is new username, BRT Cliffy. Hold on a second. Looks like he runs wide. MLA runs wide, and Beastaz takes over the second position on lap number 9. And, well, down the straight, they're all sinking to that outside part of the straight, because that is where the slipstream was due to Beastaz, as MLA and him run wide, as MLA is going to pit on lap number 9.
So does Lewis.
10 alongside Luis, yeah.
So they're going on to the mediums. They'll be going on to mediums until the end of the race. Beastaz and Cliffy, can they take these soft tyres long enough to switch onto the super soft towards the end of the race? That is going to be the big question, whatever happens. So onto the mediums for them both, and they're going to come out, looks like, in 6th and 7th, unless Cobblers go. Yeah, Cobblers does go past Ender Sophie, so they'll be back of the field now for these two front runners. And I just missed that mistake that MLA did, so I'm glad you caught it. I am also hearing that Cliffy has wing damage, so after a mistake through Maggots and Beckett's, he's got wing damage. So thank you to those watching the stream for pointing that one out for me. I was able to ride on board and catch that exactly. Our closest battle is Sophie on Cobblers, so she's going to try and get the job done with that DRS, those medium tyres, as I mentioned, going on forever. But yeah, some different strategies here today. It always does provide some different strategies when it rains in quali and everyone gets to pick their tyre and start on fresh tyres. So I'm interested to see what these guys do. But MLA and Lewis, first guys to make their move, and they're on the mediums. Hello to everyone watching.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say I was planning on saying this maybe around 10 laps ago at the start, as Beastaz is into the pits as Cliffy stays out despite his front wing damage. I was going to say I'm still sick, I'm terrible at recovering from colds and all that. So if I'm not as enthusiastic as I usually am, that is the reason why. I am trying my best. I have competitions alongside me, and I'm trying every time that I'm not talking, I'll try and turn off my mic. Blow my nose, but so I won't get any audio in. But 11 laps in, Cobbler's 5-second stop and go for speeding in the pit lane, and I mean that sort of adds insult to injury. Remember, he did start in dead last place due to the fact that he got disqualified from the session in qualifying for blocking part of the track for absolutely no reason. I felt it was an utter penalty that, he didn't earn. But nonetheless, he started in last, and now he's running in the last position on the car still in this Grand Prix. 11 laps in out of 26. But yes, Cliffy is still leading by 7.5 seconds over James Slater. And I'm going to put on the stop ratio here. The top 4 have not pitted yet, but drivers such as Luis, Beastaz, MLA, Sam, and Cobblers have pitted. So the drivers inside the top 4, and the drivers from 5th and 9th, they're on completely separate strategies for the time being. I mean, the top 4 have not pitted, and 5 through 9 have pitted. So 11 laps in, coming to lap number 12 is Cliffy, as actually he's going to come into the pits first before he comes to lap number 12. He slows down not enough as he gets a speeding penalty into the pits. Let's see if James Slater follows. He does not, but actually Matt does. Let's see if Robo Sophie does off one of the final corners. It looks like Robo Sophie stays out, but it looks like James Slater will take over the race lead. Cobbler's his teammate, 12 laps in. And now I'm going to point out, I said earlier in this race, the halfway mark in this Grand Prix is lap number 13. And, we're going to come to lap number 13 this lap. And I see only around 2 drivers have not pitted yet, as MLA passes lap time. It comes in the second stint for him. He is in clean air nonetheless. But, yeah, like I was going to say, knowing the fact that, I'm going to put on the, there you go. Robo, Sophie, and James have not pitted yet. When do you think they'll be able to pit? Due to the fact that James is on the soft tires and Robo started on the medium tires.
Well, yeah, Sophie is going to go the longest of them all, it has to be said. So it'll be interesting to see how long she can take those medium tyres. They do go on forever. And as the fuel burns off, she'll actually go quicker and quicker on them. So that'll be interesting to see when she feels she can cross over, presumably onto the super softs. James Slater, yeah, he's the longest running of those soft tyres. So how long can he take those? Just to point out, Alan, that MLA had a terrible outlap. So he went for the undercut on Bisas, and he actually lost about 2 seconds to him. So I'm not sure if he had a bad pit stop, or he had to change some wing damage, or what happened. But yeah, and Cliffy actually gained on the overcut. He was right on him. He made a slight mistake through Maggots and Beckett's there. It's just eking out to more around a second. But yeah, MLA didn't have the pace in that undercut window to do something on on Bisas, sorry. So now we'll wait and see what can Bisas do with Lewis. He's had an easy ride so far on this race after Sean retired. But James is into the pit, so it's just Sophie now that we're waiting for. Bisas sets the fastest lap of the race with a 30.3, a quick one from him. James is going to fall down the order. Everyone on the medium tyre now, so every person in this race is on the medium tyres. Sophie leads, having yet to stop, the only driver still on their starting tyres, but Lewis Net leads this race. He's going to come up behind Sophie in a minute actually. And then you've got Bisas, who's closing Lewis down, and then MLA, Cliffy, who's hanging on to MLA as well in the DRS. That'll be an interesting fight all the way through. And you've got James Slater, who's right on the back of Sam. He was the last driver to pit from his soft tyre, so he's going to have the freshest of them all. And yeah, Alan, this has proven to be a good strategic race, and Lewis is just coming up to pass Sophie.
Yes, I mean, I was sort of surprised. I mean, look at all that time lost from Robo Sophie. Back to Beckett's. Will Luis get by this lap? We will see. Down the straight, DRS is available. The Ferrari is going to look to the inside, and will be wheel to wheel. And headed into stow, Luis takes back the race lead in the Ferrari. Second is still Robo Sophie. Third is Bisas. Knowing Bisas, like you said, very, very eager to win here today. It is his hometown track, as well as many other drivers, such as MLA and Shaw, I believe, if I'm correct. And, well, the last section is a battle for 6th place between Sam and going to be James Slater. These two were just going at it a couple laps ago, even before the pit stop phases. I mean, when it was, you know, Renault Force India, you know, these teams and drivers were going for position like, you know, it was the last lap. And now we are 14 laps in out of a 26 lap race. And, well, it still looks to be that Sam and James Slater are still going at it. He's going to dive it down to the inside. Contact is made. He almost hits him off the racetrack. And James Slater picks up P6 with that move. But down the straight, DRS available for James Slater and not the Force India of Sam. So we're going to come into the second sector of this track. A better exit it is for Sam, but James Slater picks up P6. How much longer will be able to hang on?
Yeah, it's a good move there, Alan. You see a couple times, we saw that in the podium tier. You take a wide line to get the best exit onto the straight, and you could just nip your car down the inside if someone's not paying too much attention. Now it's Bisas' turn to pass Sophie. How difficult is she going to make it for the Williams driver, who's desperate to chase down that Ferrari? Of course, the Ferrari, the only driver to lead this race so far other than Sophie. Bisas will want that lead. He's got the bit between his teeth, and he's got his rival MLA in third position now, 3.5 seconds further back. So that Mercedes really doesn't have the pace that it would ideally like, and you have to say Sean probably would have been the quicker of the two, especially with such momentum being built from the previous race. As I mentioned, such a great win he had in Austria, but never mind, that's the way it goes sometimes. Sam's still in DRS of James Slater. Then we've got Cliffy just about in DRS of MLA, and Sophie is just about to lose DRS of Bisas. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing with only 9 drivers left, like you mentioned, Alan, but perhaps they've headed onto their Christmas holidays a little bit early, and we'll be back with hopefully a full grid. We've got a couple new drivers joining for the next race, which isn't until the 5th of January 2018. So after this race, I will be able to say, see you next year. But yeah, let's not think about that just now. Lap 15 out of lap 26. Hello to everyone watching. Make sure you hit that like button and hit the subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow us on Twitter for live race updates and more content throughout the week about what's going on off the track. So make sure to follow at F1TS Hub and head over to the website where you can check out the merchandise. And also, if you're new to League, you can sign up to join our waiting list. We do have a few people on there at the moment, but of course we will always try and get you seated and placed as quickly as we can. Alan, over to you.
Yes, I was just looking. We have pointed this out in the past, but I think the lag for Luis, I'm not sure if you're seeing it, but it is getting worse and worse every lap after lap. The lag between Luis and Visas, it came almost just a couple of inches between the two, where lag could have affected his race. I bring this up because that is one of the reasons why Sean is out, due to Luis's lag. Just down the straight, they couldn't even do that with his lag. And now Luis almost took out Visas in this race due to his internet connection. But yeah, 16 laps into this thing, the battle for the lead could get a lot more interesting. I'm going to look further back in the pack. That gap between James Slater and Sam has increased by a lot. That is 1.2 seconds compared to 2 laps ago when it was just a couple tenths. And, I'm looking at the grid, and something that surprises me is that no one is really close to battling each other besides, it looks to be Cliffy on MLA, and MLA has made a mistake off the exit of Maggots and Beckett's. So, I mean, this would be a good time for, to ask you a question. It doesn't relate to the race, but it, relates to Silverstone and the British Grand Prix. You mentioned to me during this that you have been here before. And you mentioned that Stowe is your favorite part of the track. Is there any other part of the track that you would find challenging, or, your favorite part of the track that you think that these drivers would enjoy, or something that you enjoy from your racing past year?
Yeah, I mean, Maggots and Beckett's, I always loved throwing the car through there, just seeing how much of the curve you can, just throw your car over top of. And it was always fantastic to just try and carry as much speed as you can. Cops was another good one, although I never felt like I had the confidence to get it right lap after lap. The last corner I absolutely hated in this version of this track. I literally could never get grip to go onto the main straight, which was always hurting my lap time. But again, there, Brooklands and Luffield is good. You can take different lines through Luffield. Nice big curves you can battle. That's always fantastic. And yeah, Stowe, just to do an overtake on Stowe is just fantastic. I absolutely love it, going side by side. Myself and MLA did last season twice. We went side by side through Stowe, and I managed to hold them off for a couple laps, which was a pretty good achievement for myself. And the drivers in the car raised their glove a couple times when the wheels touched. But no, overall, Alan, it's a really good track and great atmosphere as well. The fans really love it. I'm hoping to actually go again this year with Jono, the head race steward, and of course on the management team, and Charlie as well on the management team, so if he comes into the pits. We're hoping to all meet down there, do some camping, have a few bevies, not too many of course, but yeah, we're hoping to have some camping, some good fun, and hopefully watch some action like we're seeing today. And hopefully, yeah, Lewis wins, because if he doesn't, I want a refund.
Well, I'm gonna have to side differently from you. I would rather not see that, but for the meantime, as you were talking, the gap definitely decreased between MLA and Cliffy, and thank you for sharing your wonderful story. Brought back memories for me in league racing all around this track. I'd say my favorite part is the bridge section, the one that they took out, that they had in the original section of this track. I just love that part so much. When I was on F1 Challenge 99 to 02, and the roaring V10s, you just fly under the bridge, and then it's sort of for me it felt like a blind corner, and being side by side with someone for that corner, oh, it was beautiful for me. But yeah, I mean, again, you're just talking about MLA and Cliffy. The gap was just around 3-4 tenths, and now it's all the way back to 6 tenths. So looks like Cliffy has made a mistake with overall pace. Cliffy is faster than MLA. It's gonna be a matter of time before he gets by him. We're coming in to lap number 19 out of 26, And this race, well, it's surprisingly, believe it or not, it's actually going to end very soon, and I hate saying that. But as well, there's another gap that is decreased by a lot. There's two race leaders, and yes, I know, before you correct me, there can only be one race leader, but, you know, in my world, there's two. And those are the two drivers on the front row running in 1-2 position. That is Luis and Bisaz. The gap is down to 2/10, and there could be a passing race lead. And it looks like Bisaz, he's trying to take away the victory from Luis, and it's showing that Luis is going to have to fight for this one. Lap number 19 out of 26, Bisaz down the straight, and Luis goes defensive to the inside. Will he pull the same move that MLA did, just forcing him wide? But it looks like Luis covers ground before the corner, and head up right against the car ring back, headed to the right direction. And, well, it's pretty close between the two. But Luis still leads, but not by much. And the gap between MLA and Cliffy has increased again to around almost a full second. So I think really the only battle we'll be seeing is between these front two, because I know what Beastaz is thinking. And, you know, like I said, I've raced with him in the past, and knowing him, every time he's near a car, he'll think 5 laps ahead, and he'll think of a pass. On that point, 2016, it was 2 laps ahead, because, you know, in this game it takes you at least 5 laps to get by a car. In 2016, it was easy to pass someone, so that is what I mean by that reference. But 19 laps in for these drivers. Luis still leads, and again, for the blocker, the person ahead, it serves a huge advantage to be on this game, because you're able to block so much, or just, you know, fend off the person behind you. Like I keep mentioning, it's so hard to pass people, and when, you know, someone actually does pull off a fantastic maneuver, it's sort of a rare feeling that you feel in this, but, you know, gaining a lot of time already, Bisaz, that is already a 10th in the last couple of laps, or the last lap, I mean. Now he's in the back bumper of him. Can he hit the apex better and not lose the back end? Trying to carry more throttle off the corner, and just hitting the curb there. Going defensive is Luis, and Luis has a better exit through those 2 corners. And now we're coming to lap number 21 in the second sector, or lap number 20. The second sector coming to lap number 21 the next lap. And, well, fastest lap for Robo Sophie, down in 8th place. It looks like the 8.5 seconds off the map. And, yeah, that seems to be it. But 20 laps done out of 26. We have 6 laps? No, 7 laps to go. 7 laps to go here in the British Grand Prix. Is there any moment today that stands out from the rest in this Grand Prix?
Definitely. It was the Beastaz, MLA and Cliffy all going nose to sail through Maggots and Beckett's, and you know, Beastaz pulling off that pass, then MLA getting past Beastaz. It was just fantastic stuff. Probably my favorite lap so far this season in the Pinnacle tier, just to see 3 drivers at the top of their game fighting for the podium positions is just, what more do you want? Keeping it clean, pushing each other to the limit, pushing their cars to the limit, the tracks to the limit. And yeah, for me, you can't really get much better than that. I wish Sean could have still been here. I'm really starting to like him as a driver, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back not next week, next race. But for now, let's talk about these front 2, Alan, because here we go. You mentioned Bisaz gets a little bit of a tank slapper. I have noticed that Lewis, as Cobblers retires from the session, what's happened to him? He's lost his front wing. Yeah, and called it a day, so should have done that in the pits. But back to the front 2, Lewis is actually revving his engine a lot. He's using the gear ratios and revving it really badly, as we now have a safety car, so that has caused a safety car. Cobblers are not retiring in the pit lane like he should have done, has brought out a safety car, not a virtual, a full safety car for no reason at all. But Alan, maybe I spoke too soon. We said we hadn't had any issues with the safety car in this league so far this season, but perhaps this has just caused one now. I spoke too soon. We are on lap 21 out of 26. The safety car is coming out. What are these drivers going to do, Alan? Surely Lewis can't pit, because whatever he does, Beastaz is going to do the opposite.
You could think of it like that. He could trick him into the pits, and then he just mess up his race.
He pits? He pits?
Yep, like you said. Luis falls down. We'll see if that move costs him. We should be racing with 3 to 4 to go. And, you know, that's just my guesstimate, you know, my made-up word guesstimate. But yeah, also in the pits is MLA and Cliffy. So if everyone else pits, it'll be a huge loss for Beast has, as every car behind him pits for the super soft tires. So I don't know what Beast has was doing, but he must have thought that nobody else would have followed Luis into the pits. That is completely opposite of what happened. Now I'm sort of shocked to see, do you think Beast has will come in the next lap and put on super soft tires, or just try and hold on to the race lead?
I'm not sure if he comes in next lap, he's going to drop so far down the order, because look, these guys are going to gain up while he's stuck behind the safety car. It's usually the guy in first that has to make the difficult decision, but Lewis didn't seem to hesitate. He's like, I'm going in the pits and getting a new set of tires, and that's exactly what he did. And now look behind, you've got Sam, who didn't pit, in second. You've got Lewis, who pitted in third, Matt, who didn't pit, in fourth, MLA, who pitted, Sophie, who pitted, Cliffy pitted, and James pitted, and also got a 5-second penalty. So wow, this is going to be a real exciting end to the race. I'm looking forward to this one. I hope the safety car goes in ASAP so we can get back underway. Just to point out, that hill to the right is where I want to sit when I go next year to Silverstone. But trust me, I saw it last year and I was like, that's a perfect place to sit. Just need to figure out how to get to the inside of the track. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be great stuff. You've got Cliffy pitted as well, and he's separated in between Sophie and MLA, so she's really worked that. She's the person to benefit the most from this, because she got rid of the tire, she was already on soft tires, super soft tires, I believe. So let's have a quick look. Yeah, so Sophie's only pitted once, so's Bisash, so's Sam, and so's Matt. So Sophie's the biggest gainer because of the strategy that she started with. She's already on the super soft tires. James is in 8th position, only 8 runners left. But Alan, we got hopefully just a few laps. The safety car comes in hopefully with at least 2 laps to go. And oh, I'm looking forward to this one. What speed is Bisas going to be able to hold everyone off on those worn medium tires? It's going to be difficult.
Well, first of all, I'm going to have to say, I'm not going to make any assumptions, but I think it's pretty clear by the driver's standings that Beast has better overall pace against Sam, and Sam is one of 2 drivers that did not pit during the safety car. And if he is able to hold up Luis, and remember, this is probably with 3 to 2 to go, or 2 to 3 to go, for the final restart, that'll be just enough for Beast has to win. So it's not really just like, you know, everyone pitted but him. Also, I think Matt stayed out as well, if I'm correct. Yeah, Matt stayed out. So one of 3 drivers. My bad. But looking through the grid, you know, the more time that the safety car stays out there, the better. Less time for him to try and fend off everyone else. Things like that, because there are drivers out there that are looking for a win. There's Luis. I sort of felt like he sort of threw away the win. I'll be completely honest. But now that I look at it, you have 2 drivers in front who did not pit. They're on the medium tires compared to the super soft tires, but a counter argument. You only have a couple laps to go to pass both of them on F1 2017, not 16, F1 2017. Really hard to pass on here. Slipstream doesn't even exist on this game. So for Luis to win, he's got to do a lot to get his car up towards the front where it was a couple laps ago.
You're exactly right, Alan. Safety car looks to be coming in this lap, so we've got our dream scenario. Miracles do happen at F1 TS Hub. Here we are, lap 23 out of lap 26. We've got the 2 in first and second having yet to pit. So's Matt, yet to pit, all on 1 mediums. Bisas is going to back this pack up. The advantage he does have is he is separated by himself and Sam, who, as you mentioned, doesn't have the same pace. But here we go, Bisas boss, he gets wide. He goes completely off track. I don't think they can pass yet, but Sam's going to have a look down the outside. Thinks better of it. Look at Luis in the background. Look at MLA. You've got Matt down there as well. Cliffy, Sophie. Cliffy yet to move up a position, so Lewis surely needs to clear Sam as quick as he can, so he can get this job done on Bisas if he's able to. But Lewis goes down the inside of Sam. Sam holds the inside line. Buddy. Be careful, there's a Mercedes there.
Oh, so close. Trying, he runs out of room, and there goes MLA, squeezing him through. MLA takes a position over him down the straight, and now it's MLA's race against Luis. He just got caught up in that. He needed to put more throttle in that corner to get by, and Luis could not do that. He's still trying to maintain against MLA, but the more he does this, the more time he is losing. Not only Sam, but Beast has as well. He needs to get by Sam and hope for a mistake from Beast has. He needs to reel him in. I'm looking down at the bottom of the pack. There's a Haas against the Force India. Around the outside he goes, but he runs very wide, spinning in the background, and in the wall he goes. No, he saves it. What a save with 2 to go. That is Matt. He did not pit, so that could be effect from those tires, the very, very old tires that he is still on. He is now in 8th place, coming to 2 laps to go.
Cliffy's made up a position into 5th, so Sam's still holding on to 2nd. Can he actually hold on to this? What can Lewis do? Lewis is so close now behind. In fact, he's decided surely he's gonna get the job done here. Yes, Sam does give him room. Now what's MLA gonna do? Can he steal a podium position, or can Sam hold on? Oh, and there was lag, looked to be lag there, and MLA gets past because of it. That is extremely disappointing for Sam. He lost that position because 1.4 seconds, Alan. Can he get this done? Can he steal the race win back from Bisas, or can Bisas hold on? Cliffy's also up to 4th. Sam has dropped down to 2nd. Nope. Cliffy's back there fighting. They're side by side. They touch wheels, and Cliffy's surely going to have the extra pace, the extra grip, the extra know-how in that Haas. In case you can't tell, I'm pretty excited by this. 1 second now, the gap between 1st and 2nd. 6 tenths. MLA's further back. Cliffy's now only 9 tenths back. What's going to happen? Sam is trying to hold on now. He's in 5th position. James is so close behind him. Can he get past? Sophie's there as well. And Matt's the only driver who looks set to have ruined this. Under a second now.
I don't think he'll have enough time due to the fact that, remember, once you get to the back end of the car, you can either lose or gain time no matter how fast or how slow you are. It's just how the game works, and then you have to think of a way to get around him. And we're coming to the final lap in this Grand Prix. I don't think there is enough time. He needs to find a series of corners that he has an advantage on against every driver in front of him, and that is only Beast has. The gap is up to 9 tenths again. We're coming to 1 lap to go. Beast has the advantage. I bet you if Sam pitted or was not between the two, Luis would have gotten by for sure. He would have gotten by, but because of Sam, now he's down to 6, just got passed by the Renault. 1 lap of racing to go. Here we go, final lap in Silverstone. And Beast trying to get that home victory, Grand Prix. The gap is now back to half a second, opposed to a couple seconds ago, where it's only a full second. So really, he is gaining. He may have a last lap pass. We will see. Will he pull some tricks up his sleeves? We will see. Down the straight they go for the final time. Going defensive is Beast to the inside, back to the outside. Weaving down the straight, they go into sector number 2 for the final time, riding on board with the Ferrari. Trying to chase down Beast as he catches him out now. That is now back down to 3 tenths as he ran very wide. Headed back down the main old straight here in Silverstone. Very before 2011, this was the main straight. Now we're going to head into the first old corner, as that was to be a huge advantage for, looks to be Luis. Gains a lot of time as Beast has ran wide. Can he get a fantastic exit off Mackins and Beckett's? We will see. Final lap it is, and trying to get a better exit will be the Ferrari against the Williams. It'll be a drag race down the straight if we can use it. DRS available for the Ferrari. Is it? Yes, it is. I don't think he will have enough time, but he needs to get the better exit through Stowe. Your favorite corner, he's going to get to the back end, but he's got to put a diving move. Beast House runs wide. Final corner now. He's going to dive it down to the inside. He made contact as Beast has. He moves under braking. Final corner. Beast House is going to get by, and Beast House is going to come out through as he takes victory.
Oh, that was so close.
That was, wow, by 800ths of a second. Beast House takes victory at home. I cannot believe it.
Wow. Absolutely amazing stuff. Look at that. I can't believe he did move under braking into that second to last corner, Alan. Third to last corner. I don't know how that was from Lewis's point of view, but it forced him right over the sausage curbs. But fantastic defending. And you have to say brilliant stuff from Beathouse. He takes the win. Lewis has to settle for second on this occasion. Good result for him though. And MLA gets third on the podium yet again. He has finished every single race, I believe, on the podium. So there you have it. There's some champagne for you. And Bisas will be happy. What an end to that race. What an end to the first half of our season, Alan. It couldn't have gone any better.
Yes, this possibly has to be the best British Grand Prix the British fans have seen, not only the top 5, the top 5 is locked out by all British drivers in one of the best finishes probably this crowd has ever seen in history. Now, I will say this, Beast has a well-deserved victory from starting P4 in this race against Luis, who had pole position. I felt like he threw it away as he pitted. Many were saying Beast has threw it away, but what a finish. 0.08 of a second. Your winner today is Beast has. By only that gap, neither drivers inside the top 2 got penalties. So, really inside the top 3. So really, I mean, the top 3 drivers all finished within 1 second of each other. That is really impressive. That is a fantastic race, and that just goes to show that despite having 8 finishers, we still had one of the best races in a long, long time in F1 TSO.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Well done to the guys putting on a show for us. It wasn't the best race up until then in terms of excitement, but it made up for it in those last few laps. As you mentioned, the top 3 finishing within half a second of each other. When does that happen? Well, it happened at F1 TS Hub in the Pinnacle tier tonight. So I guess we should just say our goodbyes and wish everyone a fantastic Christmas. Hope you stay safe during the holidays. Have a fantastic Christmas and just enjoy, relax, and keep an eye on Twitter and make sure you subscribe. Head over to the website. There'll be lots of stuff going on during the holidays. Of course, as always, we like to involve the community with off-track experience. But yeah, have a good new year as well. Don't do too many fireworks, and don't have too many beverages. I know I will have too many. And Alan, thank you very much for joining me in 2017. It's been great to commentate with you. And final thoughts before I say see you next year?
First of all, you are a letdown, not to be insulting, but you're saying don't take too many beverages. You're basically telling people not to have fun, basically. But yeah, that was a fantastic way to end up 2017. I'm looking forward to the second half of the season, and if anyone is curious, next Grand Prix will be in a couple weeks' time for the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. Like we said, for the Hungarian Grand Prix, the 11th round will be in 2018 in a couple weeks' time. So thank you everybody so much for watching. My name is Alan Cavagaro. I'm joined alongside Nick. We will see you next year for the Hungarian Grand Prix and F1 TSO action. My name's Alan alongside Nick. We'll see you next year. Have a safe night and a safe year, and peace.
Thank you very much, guys.